Welcome back to the Beyond the Buckets. Your host, Chris McSwain, but I have a very, very, very special guest, a three-time WNBA All-Star, the number 6 pick in the 2011 WNBA draft, college All-American, high school All-American, also my cousin, Danielle Robinson. Welcome to
I sound good on that, I'm glad to be here, though. Thank you for having me.
I really try to make sure I do everybody justice when they come on because there's some really cool people and you're one of them. I'm excited for everybody to hear your story, but you have a beautiful, vivacious smile and you're always happy-go-lucky. So that smile that you're giving me right now, have you always had that? And I would say you're an energy giver. You give that energy off and no matter where you're at, it's just a great vibe. So tell everybody about kind of, how you got your personality.
Yeah, well, obviously I have two amazing parents. So people say that I'm like my mom a lot, and she's the same way, smiles all the time, an energy giver. And so I think that's definitely where I got, my smile, my energy, my personality. Obviously my pops he's more laid back, but he's a goofball. And I think that's where I got like my sense of humor and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, that's how God made me. Always been this way. I thank God for braces because that definitely helped with my smile. But yeah, I mean, it's always my personality just to give energy, feed off people's energy. And if I see they need it, I try to make them laugh or give them a hug or smile at them. And people do say that a lot, like your smile is contagious. Like, whenever you walk into a room, I want to smile or I want to be happy as well. So I'm thankful that it's, who I am.
Definitely. And you also like your clothes and shoes. Outside of myself, I think you might have more sneakers than I do. When did that start becoming something that you like to enjoy? I know you love the kick game, and I think you just made a new contract with the Three Stripes.
No, I'm working on it, but yes, okay. I'm hopeful. Yes. Okay. But I guess you could say my love for shoes started when I was a kid. My dad's not a sneakerhead at all, but whenever school would start and basketball would start, he'd be like, let's go. I remember this vividly. Like we would go to Sunnyvale Mall, and they had I think it was a Finish Line or a Foot Action or something, and he would take me there. They'd always have sales. And one time I remember we went there and I got the 11 Lows pink snakeskin, and I was like, oh, these are fire. And from then on, we would just continue to go, and every time we would go, he would give me a new pair of sneakers. And I think that's where my love of sneakers it started and still continues to this day. I don't really buy as much as I used to. I'm talking about my rookie year, anything that came out I wanted, and now it's just okay, I'm gonna pick and choose. And now that I'm not with Nike anymore, I can buy more brands. That obviously Yeezys are my thing. They're probably the most comfortable shoes that I have, and so I've ventured that way. But I still go and buy the Jordans that I like.
Right.
But right now it's about comfort for me. So I've been buying New Balance, I buy Pumas, I buy everything. So
yeah, it's funny you say that because I'm the same way. But right now it's all comfort. I'm wearing the Crocs around the house all the time.
Exactly.
Because you just want to be comfortable. And for me, I was very much like you. But then, once I started having kids, I can't really buy the shoes that I used to be able to do. But I still got some things for the kids. When they see me, they think I have all these pairs of shoes. It's only 150 or so. But,
only. Okay.
But I kind of switch them up so they don't really know what's going on. But I definitely share your affinity for sneakers. I just have a quick story about when we were growing up, because I was 7 years older than you, but we moved in with you guys when I was about, I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and we lived with you for a year or two, and you used to always play with your older brother and I. So I was 3 or 4 years older than Jonathan, your older brother, and then you were 7 years younger than me, and he was 3 or 4 years older than you. But you used to hang tough with us. I mean, we would be playing in the driveway, and you guys had a basketball hoop, and you would be out there playing. And I really like, we just knew back then that you were going to be something special. Tell me about those days growing up and always kind of being the younger kid and always just trying to prove yourself against, older bullies like me. And now you can for sure bully me. So I guess it comes back around, right? So tell me about that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People are always like, well, where did you, start playing basketball? When did you start? And I was like, I started in second grade, but it was because of Jonathan.
Yeah.
Like anything he did, I wanted to do. And so he'd be outside with his friends and I'd be out there playing too. Um, so that's the thing about how I got my start. Wait, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, you're still there. So yeah, so basically it was because of Jonathan that I started playing.
Yeah.
And so even with AAU ball, he used to go and play and practice, and I'd always tell my mom, like, I want to go. I knew I was too small. I knew I wasn't on the team, but just being in the atmosphere around these guys, I think definitely helped me. And so that's where I got my start. And it's to this day, I tell people all the time, I think I finished so well around the rim because of his length and me playing against him all the time. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
I'm only 5'7", so obviously he got those genes. I didn't, but
Right.
he was able to help me in that way as far as helping me finish around the rim, helping me go up against bigger players. And so, yeah, I mean, I attribute a lot of my success to him.
No, he played college basketball at Hampton University, and he's 6'4", but his arms are about like 6'9".
I would
So
say,
that is definitely probably one of the reasons why you're such a great finisher. But just playing outside and just playing against older people at such a young age, I think that really helped you along your journey. And like you said, it really inspired you as a player. But I want to fast forward to the WNBA.
okay,
You were going to be entering. This is going to be your eighth year.
ninth,
Ninth year.
yeah.
Tell me about that process and how it's kind of been. You've had some ups and downs with injuries and
Right.
whatnot, but just give me a lay of the land as far as your career goes.
Yeah, well, it's been amazing. It's honestly been a dream come true. And honestly, that dream started when I was real young. I remember watching the Houston Comets, and Kim Perrott. She was my favorite player. She was the point guard for them. Ended up passing away from cancer. But the first time I watched her, I was like, I want to be her. Like, I want to lead a team. I want to win a championship. Still working on that. Hopefully soon. But that was the beginning of my WNBA dreams. And so when it came true in 2011, with my mom there and Coach Cole there, it was just I don't even think that I had words. Like I literally started shaking before I was drafted, and then obviously you have to like get it together when you walk up on stage and have to be interviewed about the team you're going to be on and the players. So that was, I think, one of the best moments of my life, honestly, being drafted.
And when you walked across that stage, what was the first thing that like went through your mind?
Ah, so we have this joke in my family, like do it for $34.99, which is our address, and so that's what I think my first thought was. Like, I did it. I did it for $34.99. I made it, and it wasn't just me making it; it was all of us. And obviously, I'm a representation of my family, so that was really, really special. And then to go back to my phone and have all the texts I'm talking about from people in elementary school to obviously my college teammates to people I went to high school with that I really didn't talk to, but that watched the draft and saw it, or somebody else had posted it. So I think that was like, just, it was so gratifying. Like, wow, like, I have a lot of support and love and support from people that I don't talk to all the time. And it was cool to see in that moment that it wasn't just like me making it and not just my family, but all of us, San Jose, California, basically. So that was
Right.
cool.
And I'll say this, you get back to every single text message too. Like, there's a lot of people that are in your position that I know, whether that be in the NBA or whatever, and they don't always get back. Like they leave their text messages unread. So one quality about yourself, you always get back no matter what. So I appreciate that about you.
Of course. I mean, that's always been my thing. I have never gotten too big time because I mean, I always know where I came from, who I represent, and I think that's my parents instilled that in me from when I was young. So
Yeah. For those that may not know, tell me what a WNBA practice is like.
honestly, it's easier than college, but it depends on the day, really. If you're going like the day before a game,
Hmm.
it's going to be more focused on the team that you're playing.
Yeah.
It's going to be, going over some of their plays. It's going to be focusing on sets we probably will run against them,
Right.
exploit their defense. But usually, I mean, it's, typical practice. You warm up for about 15, 20 minutes. You get a little bit of drill work. So whether it's defensive drills, whether it's offensive execution drills, you do that. You'll get up and down a little bit, maybe a little bit of 3 possessions, score, stop, score, that kind of thing, and then you'll get down to the meat of it. Like I said, if it's day before a game, you're working on scouting. If not, you're working on execution of your offense against the scout guys.
Right.
Basically, just staying on top of whatever you need to. But with this season, hopefully we have one. I don't know, but
Right.
probably everything will be shortened, so there'll probably be less practices, more games. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Staying up on your game, because every single year, it's not like the NBA where there's 30 teams. It's about half of that, and you're having to stay relevant every single season. And you're getting, you're 31 now,
Yeah.
but there's always young kids coming in or young ladies coming into the league, and they're always trying to take your spot. And there's only so many spots in the WNBA. Tell me how that has been. And because the WNBA is a very short career for most people, and like you said, you're going into your 9th year, so it's pretty amazing that you've made it this far. How have you been able to do that with the competition level so high?
Yeah, well, I'm thankful for every opportunity I've been given. A lot of it stems from my leadership, and like you talked about, my personality. Not everybody's gonna be the Maya Moore. I may have the work ethic of Maya Moore. I'm not gonna be Maya Moore, but my voice is important. The way I practice is important. The way I compete is important, and that pushes a team to succeed. And obviously, when I'm on the court, I'm useful. I do a lot of really good things, and offensively and defensively, and that's what teams need and what they want. And so, even with the younger talent coming in, like, I'm relevant because of the way I work, of the way that I lead, of the way that I challenge people and push people to be better and our team to be better. And so that's why I think my my
You cut out there for a second.
you're also you're working on your game. I think this past year was a start of my 3-point percentage going up. I
Yeah.
shot a lot of it overseas in Europe. And then, obviously this year with Big Liz inside, we're going to have to be able to space the floor. So that's something that I've been working on as well. But every year you got to improve on something, whether it's ball handling, whether it's your defense, whether it's shooting from the outside, something to keep you relevant.
Right. You've had the privilege to play with a lot of high-level players, two of the best that have ever done it, and Maya Moore as well as Diana Taurasi. Tell me about your experience with them, and how they kind of helped you along, and if you have any cool stories.
Yeah, well, you can't forget about Becky Hammond because she was like the original.
That's right. She's the OG,
Yeah,
and she's
yeah,
paved the way for many females in the NBA,
yes,
because and that's a great point that you mentioned, Becky. Um, she is just a basketball savant, and so understanding that the Spurs organization is smart enough to know that, like, it doesn't matter that she's a woman. She can talk hoop and teach hoop with the best of them. Doris
yeah.
Burke is my absolute favorite.
Oh, she's the best.
I mean, she's amazing. So yeah, maybe talk about Becky Hammond, Diana Taurasi, as well as Maya Moore.
Yeah, well, Becky was my initial welcome to the league because she was on my team when I was drafted, and so she came in and was like, you know, I need you to get me the ball here, 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 and here, and I need you to be confident doing it. So this whole season, we're going to work on confidence. Like, I know you're a rookie. You can't play like a rookie. Like, this is what I need you to do, and this is how I need you to lead us. And so she was my example of being a professional.
Yeah. And she moved to the 2 when you came, right?
Yeah, she did, which made it easier for her. Like people hound her all the time, but now she just had to come off screens and shoot it, finish at the rim and have plays run for her. So I was like, okay, like I like doing that. I can get you the ball where you need it, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but for in that moment, it was about confidence, because as a rookie, you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I dribbling too much? Like, am I passing to her enough? You're like worrying about these things because you haven't been in this system.
Right.
You don't even know these women really, like, that have been established in this league for years. And so that was the thing. She was just like, come in, do you, and we'll feed off you. Like, don't try and make any adjustments. Like, don't passive a shot to like get me the ball or anything like that. It was like, when my play is called, okay, give me the ball. But other than that, like, do you get to the rim, attack, drive and dish. And I was like, okay, like I can do that. Like,
Right.
being confident in what I just did in college for 4 years. So she was the ultimate example of how to be a professional and how to lead, because she's had to do it for so long. And then getting to Phoenix, I mean, Diana is Diana. Like, you don't even really got to say anything other than she's Diana. But she was a great, great teammate. Like, she's the first one high-fiving, talking to people. If you mess up, like, she's like, you know what? Forget it. Fix it on the other end. Like, we're going to get through this. Like, she's just like a great personality and like leader.
No
So
doubt.
yeah.
And when we went to the shoot around out there, that was my first time getting to know
Right.
her. And she was exactly what you said, the coolest person you've ever met, knows how to work a room, knows how to like take jabs at players on the team.
Yeah.
Also make it fun.
Yeah.
Her and Brittany Griner were punting the basketballs in the arena, telling the rookies to go get them.
Right.
But it was all in fun, and they were just such good people, and you got that vibe. Hey, you want to take a picture, whatever? Oh yeah, I got you. And it just she was super cool. But just to see her in her element and how dialed in she was, even though she was talking all that mess, like she was talking on every single thing. Like, if you guys are shooting half court shots, it reminded me of watching the Jordan and the documentary. Like that was Diana, but I would say with more of a playful nature to her, but still the same amount of dog.
Right.
So
you can't. She never took herself too seriously. That was the best part. Like, she would work, but like there was always going to be a joke coming after her. Like, damn, that was hard or something like that. Just or like you said, taking a jab at somebody, which would, if something was hard, it would lighten up the mood, lighten up the room. But yeah, she was a great teammate to have. Obviously, we're still in contact to this day. Like, if I'm, like when I went to Minnesota, she reached out to me and was like, it was an honor to play with you. Like, I appreciate everything you did for the team. If you need anything ever, like, just hit me up. Like, you got, a friend in me forever. So like, she's that kind of teammate. And yes, she can be a pain when you're playing against her, but like, you understand why when you're on the team with her. Because like, she wants to win. Like you said, she has that dog mentality and she's going to do what it takes. So.
Right. And how about Maya Moore, one of the best all-time players to play the women's game? And yeah.
Well, Maya, it's cool because basically we're the same class. So I've been losing to Maya a lot. So I can say that. So it's finally good to be like on her team,
right.
And learn from her for a year. Like, she was, again, a consummate worker, like just always in the gym. And she's not the most vocal leader. Like, she led in a different way. She led with her play. She led with her work ethic. She led with like, I'm gonna get this bucket right now, even if there's 3 people on me. Like, you're like, damn, like that's hard to do every night. Like, you're getting double and triple teamed, and you're still averaging 25, 30. Like, I mean, you don't really need to say anything else about Maya. Like, she's good, and it's like she's so gifted naturally. I mean, athletically, she's just up there. Like, you'd be like, oh, Maya's at half court, they're about to shoot a layup, and bam, it's blocked out of bounds or off the backboard. I'm like, what? Like, how did that even happen? But it was super cool just to be able to like grow up with her, in the same class, and like watch her how she's flourished and won championships and been MVP, and she's literally done everything that you can possibly imagine as a basketball player. And so to be on her team and like see why, it was cool.
Yeah, and now she's doing really great things in the
Oh,
social justice area, and stop playing basketball for the time being anyway. And that just goes to the person that she is,
yes.
because to leave your basketball career when you're considered one of the best that ever played the game, and to leave at the height of your career is got to be something really really selfless.
Yes, absolutely. And from the beginning, obviously the Lynx have supported her. The entire basketball community has supported her because it's just incredible what she's doing. Like you said, she's literally at the peak of where she needs to be, and what she's done. Like, I mean, she's won 4 championships in 8 years. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, are you serious? Like, that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, to be able to support her, and every time, like when the case got dropped, like I reached out to her, and she was just so thrilled and excited to hear from me. And I already know, like, that's the love and support that she's getting from the basketball community. So I'm
Right.
happy for her because she's happy. Like, she's literally in her element and doing something else that, she's at the pinnacle. Like, you literally come in, and a year later, like, you're the GOAT. Like, I just don't even understand. Like, everything she touches is gold. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah. What is one lesson that you've learned from all three of those outside of just the work ethic that they put in to be as great as they were?
I think the biggest thing would have to be balance. Like, yes, they love to hoop, they love to be in the gym, but like, they're not just basketball players.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that was like the key. Like, when I first got there as a rookie, Becky was like, yes, we're gonna be in the gym a lot, but like, when we leave, like, I don't really want you to think about this. Like, I need you to come in fresh every day. So whatever that means for you, like, I need you to do that, because when we step on the court, like, I need you out here, and I need you to be fresh. So um
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing, and you can see that in all three of them. Like, obviously Maya, in the criminal justice, Diana has a family. She's, doing other things outside of basketball that she's interested in. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've got from them. And as my career's gone on, it's like, okay, like, I can take a day to day, on a day off. Like, I can relax. Like, I don't have to push myself, because
Yeah.
tomorrow, like, I need to be fresh, and I don't want to have run myself into the ground. So that's
Right.
been, I think, one of the biggest things.
Tell me a little bit about some things that people may not know about the WNBA. I was in New York with Maddie, and we came to watch you guys play the Liberty when I think you were in San Antonio,
Yeah.
and you were like, "Okay, just stick around in the garden after, and we'll be out." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So we stuck around in New York, and then after a while, you guys came out. All the teammates came out, everybody greeted each other, and they're like, "Oh, come with us back here." We're like, "Wait, what?" We're going on the floor, and then we're going back behind. Like, you don't get access like that. And then it was Roz Gold on
Mhm.
Wune,
Yeah.
and she's good friends with you. We all go out the back, and we just go to dinner right after that. Like, it was just so crazy to me that we could walk through the back of the garden and it just go out this side door, and then we're off. So that was mind blowing to me, because if we go to one of the NBA games and people that we know, it's much different than that. Like, you got to
Right.
make sure that you have the passes, you got to do all this stuff. So tell me a little bit about some things that people would not know about the WNBA.
Um, let's see. Well, our fans do have a lot of access to us, which I like,
Yeah.
because you're able to learn about people, and you're seeing them every night at home. So that's like a cool thing. That fans, especially now, like, a lot of arenas are set up where they have like party zones, and fans are able to, get food and drinks, but still be like right on the court. So, like, I think that's like one of the best parts. What else would I have to say? I
What do
don't know.
you what do you think the women's game needs to do to, I wouldn't necessarily, I would just say, create new viewership. Because I coach girls and I coach women, and I love the game. and I watch both. I watch women's college basketball. I watch men's college basketball. I watch NBA, WNBA because I just love it. And I think both games are the same, but they're just different. What can the WNBA do? And I know they've done a great job over the last since Adam Silver really has taken over.
Mm-hmm.
What can they do to get more viewership? Because it's a great game. If people ever go to these games, they'll see that these girls are hoopers. And one thing that I always and I'll end with this. One thing that I can never stand is when we're watching a women's hoop game, I'm with my friends or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, you think we would beat the brakes off these girls?" And I'm looking at like, "Are you kidding me?" And then, you'll come to open gym or, a girl that is a high level player, or even they play with our team and they're like, whoa, you girls, like, what? Yeah.
Like, what do you think
Yeah.
exactly?
Like you girls are phenomenal hoopers. I would say you're as quick as a lot of the point guards in the NBA, and people don't even realize that. So what can people do or the WNBA do to kind of increase that viewership?
Well, one, I think, which is what they've started to do more of, is tell more people's stories. You know,
Yeah.
being able to relate to more than the top 10 players that they consider top 10. I think it helps because fans want to know about you. Like whenever you talk to them, like they want to know more and they want to know more and they want to know more. And I think the WNBA giving everybody the opportunity to have their story told would help. Like, sometimes people don't relate to the top 10 players. They may relate to me. They may relate to somebody else, the De'Aricas, the anybody. So I think that's one thing. I think that's the main thing. Like I think our marketing as far as like every player, well, might not get to everybody, but I think a lot of players telling their stories and and broadcast, not mentioning, maybe you don't mention. I mean, you mention them, but you don't mention, the people that everybody knows about already, but
Right.
something different about somebody that you may not know about. So I think that's one thing. And then two, I think it's always just going to be like viewership, like getting us on TV more. That's the key. I mean, obviously ESPN's been great for us, and even Twitter, doing some games these past few years. And I think that's been huge. But yeah, I think viewership and then telling more people's stories as far as marketing is going to be the key.
And that was another sad reason why, the unfortunate passing of Kobe Bryant is because he was on that path. He loved going to WNBA games. One of the last interviews he did was at the Las Vegas Aces game. He brought his daughter and their whole team, and his daughter's favorite team was Liz and Chelsea, Kelsey Plum.
Yeah.
And now it would have probably been you too, because you
I
guys.
know I would have been up there.
So yeah, that was sad, but I'm looking forward to your next journey with the Las Vegas Aces. Tell me, about that and your excitement level.
Yeah, well, I'm beyond hyped to be with the Aces. Obviously, being closer to home is huge. Like my parents and everybody from San Jose is like, oh, we coming this summer. Like we about to be out there. So it was exciting. It still is exciting, obviously, to be a part of the Aces and to be able to hopefully if things happen, people can still come. But it's not looking good right now as far as people traveling and being at the games. But still, just to be in Vegas is special. You see the momentum they've created these past few years in Vegas. The ownership is just thrilled with having them, and I think that's like the biggest change from them coming from San Antonio is like they're wanted and they're Vegas is becoming like a sports mecca. They're getting the
For
Breakers,
sure.
the Knights. They have so just be able to join their team, watching them on TV, you feel their energy, and I'm just excited to be a part of that, to bring my energy as well, my leadership, and see what we can do this year.
Now, is it the same ownership and management as San Antonio?
No, it's not.
Whole new management group?
Yep, MGM is who is our ownership.
Wow. And I was doing another podcast with Kevin E. Martin, who's going to be doing all your games.
Yeah.
She's a sports media journalist out there. And she said that Al Davis is, or Al Davis Jr., or I forget his name, but he loves WNBA games and goes to all the Aces games, I guess. So
Well, I'll be seeing him out there.
definitely.
Hopefully, God willing. If
So
the virus says so.
definitely. Tell me a little bit about playing overseas. For those that don't know, the women's game, you probably make more of your revenue playing overseas. So you're playing pretty much 11 months out of the year with very little breaks. And, tell me about that. And I'm hoping that the WNBA will be the only area in which they can play, or you guys can play, because, you know, all the talent is getting seen over there. And that's another reason why I think maybe the viewership isn't as high as what the NBA would be.
Yeah, so Europe, I've had my ups and downs in Europe just because it's like, oh, it's great, for obviously playing, for the revenue, the financial aspect of it, but you miss so much when you're in Europe. And I think that's what, people sometimes miss about, like, oh, well, you're in Europe, like you get to travel and do all this stuff. Like, yeah, that's amazing. And it's a blessing, but I've missed so many weddings, so many birthdays, so many baby showers, like for people that I love dearly. And it's been hard. And I think that's the hardest part, like missing my mom's birthdays, missing my dad's birthdays, missing my brother's birthdays. Like it's a lot sometimes when you're over there. And in places like Turkey, like you don't come back for Christmas because they don't celebrate it. So you're literally over there by yourself, watching everybody else celebrate, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm on FaceTime with my family, but it's not the same, how that is. So
I do know.
it's been great because I've seen a ton, like places that I didn't ever think that I'd be. Fell in love with the city of Prague in Czech Republic because I played there 3 years. Seeing, the lifestyle and culture of a place like Turkey. I was in Poland this year, which I loved. I love Polish food, I found out. So it's been cool to venture into different cultures and countries, all while playing the game that I love. So yeah, I think there's obviously two sides to it. There's obviously more pros and cons, or I wouldn't continue to play over there. Right. And my family has been amazing and understanding and visiting and all of that. So, but yeah, Europe's great. I mean, being able to play year round and financially be stable is, something you can't ask more for. I mean, you're doing what you love, traveling on somebody else's dime. It doesn't get better than that.
Truly the American sports dream for sure. Playing a sport, getting paid for it. And the key word is playing, like you're having fun and enjoying it. And that's so beautiful. And such a blessing, like you mentioned.
You're going to have to visit though.
I know.
It's and like, if you were coaching, it would be easier.
Yeah, that's the hard part, coaching during that time, and the difference between being over there and here is like I don't miss stuff, right. Even though I'm coaching, I can still make things and gatherings, but I can definitely see the pull that it will have on your heart, and being over there, by yourself, or you might be with your teammates or whatnot, but it's just not the same as being with your family and friends. So pivoting just a little bit, you had a wonderful high school career. You scored over 2,000 points in your career. You were All-American as a collegiate player at Oklahoma. Norman, Oklahoma is different. I mean, the couple of times that I'd been there, you were like a rock star. I mean, you had billboards up. People were asking for your autograph in Applebee's because that was the best place to eat at that time.
We've upgraded since then. Okay, we've upgraded since then.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't been since you left, so I don't know Trey Young, but you're the only PG I'll go to see out in Oklahoma. Yeah. But tell me about your experience there. Like such a rich culture in basketball. They treat you guys like professional athletes. I mean, it must have been a great time.
Oh, it was. Oklahoma, I can't thank enough for helping me become the woman that I am today. I talk about that all the time when I speak about Coach Cole. Like, she was more than just a coach to me. She was like a mother figure. And with me being away from home, like, that makes it that much more special, especially when you do things together. Right. Like, getting to a Final Four is hard. It's really hard. And when you do that with people that you care and love, and they treat you like they're their own, like you're their own flesh and blood. Like it doesn't get better than that. And so I think that was what made my time there special, is that all my teammates, we always got along. We never had any drama. Like it was just like a good atmosphere. And especially with, the time I was there, like football was doing great. Blake Griffin was on the men's side. It was like it was like a sports mecca there. Like at one point during my career, both the men's and women's basketball were number one in the country. And I was just like, wow, like the hype around campus, it was so crazy, because it was like, yo, like you're on the team, like, yo, you're on the team. And then there's Blake walking, and we're all just conjugating, and everybody's just like in awe. And I was just like, this is what we're doing to like the city of Norman, like the hype around, and then obviously football doing well. It was just crazy. But it was so much fun. Like I never saw myself in Norman, Oklahoma when I was being recruited in college. It was always like, I was always saying, I'm going to stay home. Like, Mom and Dad, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to stay close to home so that you guys can come to every single game, and I can have you there, and you guys can cook for me. That was really the key. Yeah. But then my mom was like, no, like you need to go away. You need to grow up. You need to just become a young lady and see what life is like without us, every step of the way. And so when I went on my recruiting visit to Oklahoma with my mom and we left, we were like, yeah, this is it. Like we knew we're gonna take other visits just to make sure, but this is it. And so it definitely felt like that all 4 years. It wasn't easy, for sure not. Like, balancing class and workouts and study hall and trying to eat and all that. It's hard. Especially like when you come back from on the road and you have a test and you got to be studying on the road and you got stuff proctored on the road. Like it's hard. Yeah. But overall, I can say like my time in Norman was really, really, really special.
Right. And I would say that like in California, we're just more laid back, and people aren't like fanatics like that for really any sports, like specifically in the Bay Area. If you go up to the Pacific Northwest, they get kind of more into their sports, but they don't get into the sports like they do, especially like you guys would have the same crowd as the guys would have, and that's the different piece that when I went out there and I visited and I just saw the culture, I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's nothing else out there, but you guys were the attraction. And it was, like you said, it was just such a great experience for you. Tell me about some of the hard times, because early on, you're coming in as a highly touted freshman. Right. You're supposed to be, people expect you to be who you are by the time you're a senior, but they need that now as a freshman. Right. So tell me about some of those struggles early on, because you mentioned it's not all easy and there's going to be an adjustment period. And for players that are listening out there, it's not always going to be easy. There's going to be some turmoil that goes on during your experience with basketball. Right. And how did you deal with that? And what was that when you were going through it?
Yeah, well, I can say I was humbled real quick when I got to college. The first practice, I remember being put on the second team. And I was like, I called my mom immediately after practice. I was like, yeah, she messed up. Like, I was on the wrong team in practice. Like, is she serious? Like, I didn't come out here to not start. Like, what are you talking about? And she was just like, are you serious? She was like, there's no way that you walk into a college atmosphere, people you don't know, system you don't know, and think that you're just going to walk into the starting spot. She was like, you have to earn that. And that was like, okay. So from then on, I was like, I'm going to bust my butt to get where I want to be and do whatever I need to do to feel like, I'm doing the right thing. And if I start, I start. I know that I did everything I could. And if I don't start, again, I still know that I did everything I could to help this team. And I know that Coach Cole is going to put me in the right position no matter what it is. So sure enough, the first game I didn't start, and that's okay. But from after that, I started. I didn't start. The first game of my college career was the only game I did not start. And I think it was because of the mindset that obviously changed once my mom talked, sense into me, because I went in there thinking that I was some big shot, I guess. Maybe because I won a state championship, I don't know. But it was cool to see like my mindset change as far as like, you know what, like I'm really going to bust my butt and do what my mom said. Like I need to earn this. Like nothing is given in this world, and I need to earn this. And so that was like, one of the toughest moments for me. Like walking in, I was like, okay, well, this really isn't going to be easy. Like, college basketball is hard. And that's the other thing. I think the workouts they're like more mental than they are physical. I mean, they're a lot physically, but mentally you're like, yo, I have nothing left. And your teammates are looking at you like, you better make this sprint or we're coming back at 5 a.m. And you're like, you know what? I got you. Like, I'm going to figure this out. Some way, somehow I'm going to push my body to do this. Like my freshman year, my teammate, Carolyn Baker, she texted me every day. It was just like, we're going to get through it. Like, we're going to get, because I would literally psych myself out because the workouts were so tough. I was like, I've never ran like this in my life. Like, this is really going to translate to the basketball court, but like, I get it because a lot of it's mental and like they need to see who's really down for the cause. And so I think that was like some of the toughest moments of my career was at the beginning. And then I would say junior year, like when we lost Whitney Hand, and we still went to the Final Four. Like getting there without her was, I'm talking about. We had
tore ACL, right?
Yeah, she did.
She was your shooter. She was a straight shooter too. My goodness.
Yeah, she had a wetter.
She was cold for sure.
And so when we lost her, it was like, how's our season gonna go? Like, are we gonna be okay? We had 9 players, 3 of which didn't play a lick the year before. Like, how are we going to get everybody on the same page? How am I going to lead everybody and get their belief high enough that when they step on the court, like they're ready to go? And so I think that was like a pivotal point in my career as far as like leading different people and leading us to another Final Four, because nobody in the entire country thought that we were going to make it. Like nobody in the Big 12 thought that we were going to make it. And so I think that was probably another tough moment in my journey.
Well, the thing that resonates with me is, your mother as well as Coach Cole holding you accountable.
Yes.
And a lot of times as coaches, we try to do that and people want to take the easy way out. And your approach was opposite. After you got the sense talked into you, you decided, you chose, she's going to have no choice but to start me. Not I get to start because I chose to come here. No, I'm going to start because I chose to work harder and make sure that I'm the person that is going to lead the group going forward. And a lot of times, we think we're ready before we actually are ready. Like just think about anything that you've ever wanted. Like let's say your rookie year in the WNBA. Mm-hmm. If you were put in a situation where you had to shoulder all of the load, you wouldn't have been ready, and it's quite possible that your career could have gone a different way. But because you had vets, like Becky, to be able to be like, hey, this is how we do it. This is how you approach the game and things like that. That's how you learn. But you learn from 2 ways: observing and then by doing. And it sounds like you did both.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference, I guess, from my generation and the kids now. It's like, no, I got all these highlights, I need to be doing this. And it's like, nah, like the person before you, like they grinded the same way that you're grinding, and you're gonna have to earn that. You're gonna have to outplay me to get the spot. And even in the W, when I came in, I didn't start. I learned from Toli Bevilacqua. She was the point guard at the time. And I don't think at that point, once being humbled in college, I was like, you're right, I'm not ready. Like, I need to learn more. I need to really earn this. Like, I don't want it to be given to me just because I'm number 6 and all that. Like, I want to earn being the starting point guard. And so halfway through the season, I got that spot. And it's much more gratifying that way, I think, to be like, I put in the time. I've studied the film. I've studied, the opposing players enough to where they trust me to lead this team, to lead a bunch of vets, Sophia Young, Ruth Riley, like people that are just Hall of Famers. And it was cool. And I think that's the best part. Even now, it's like, coming in, like the way Vegas came after me, it's like, we want you to lead this group, like this core group that we have. We want you to lead it. And we know that you can do it. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, I think.
No doubt. So you went to 2 Final Fours in your college career. Like you mentioned, it's hard. What's hard about it?
Well, when we were number one in the country, everybody's coming after you. So that was, I think, the toughest part of that, along with just the everyday journey. You know, there are times when you get beat up the night before and you got to turn around and get through a 3-hour practice, and not just you, but everybody. And you have to make sure, especially as the point guard, that everybody's ready. And just those moments sometimes, you know, when, you know, people are down and they didn't play well, or, you know, an injury happened, they're going to be out that game. Like there's so much that goes on throughout a season that it's like, wow. Like when you look back on the journey, you're like, that was hard. Like we're not winning every game by 20. Sometimes we're squeaking it out at the end. Like one year we were playing Arkansas. We were supposed to beat them by like 20 at home. They came out and they were busting our, you know.
It's okay. You can say what you need.
Okay. They were busting our ass like
Yeah.
bad. And we came out and somehow won the game. Like a girl, Lauren Willis, she didn't play a lot, but she was like so vital to our team, her energy. Coach was like, you need to go in and set one screen. That's all I need you to do. And D-Rob, I need you to fly past everybody while Lauren sets the screen and win the game. Because if we lost that game, it probably hurts our chances of being a number one seed. To, you know, so all these things are like coming into play. So literally she came down and waxed this girl on this screen. I hit a shot off the backboard. We win the game by 1 point. And it's just like stuff like nobody really notices that kind of stuff. Like we in the moment are like, wow, like we just saved our ass in the tournament, you know?
Yeah.
If we're number one seed, it gets easier. Like our road is easier. If we're number two, it gets a little bit harder kind of thing. So stuff like that adds up throughout a season that people probably don't know a lot about, but when you're in it, you're like, wow, like all this plays a part in getting to where we need to go.
Yeah, those unsung heroes, they're always on the team. And you know, in my 16-year career coaching, I've seen everybody get an opportunity at one point in time in the season. And the question is, are you going to be willing to step in and be ready when that chance comes? It's happened so many times. Like you mentioned, Whitney got hurt and somebody had to step up, and they probably weren't even figuring out that they were going to be in that role because she's playing 40 minutes, you know, 38 minutes, whatever it may be, and shoots the lights out, and somebody else had to take on that responsibility. And I just think that's so important for teams, for people that run companies, whatever it may be, just understanding that every piece is important and they have to feel value. Did coach show that value or share that value with everybody? Like making sure that the 15th girl on the bench knew that she was important to your whole process?
Oh, absolutely. Coach did that every single day, but that night especially, she was like, we don't win the game without Lauren Willis. Like, Lauren won us this game single-handedly. Yeah, you guys may have, you know, got us back in the game, but Lauren single-handedly won us this game. And it wasn't just because of like the screen, it was her selflessness. Like she hadn't been warm since warm-ups. Like you come in, run up and down twice and have to set a screen, and you're the hero. And it's just like, it was so gratifying for her because she's like, you know, this is why I'm working every day. Like I'm always working because I know that Coach Cole's going to call my number at some point. And I think that's what also made our team special, is that nobody was like wanted all the credit. Like Courtney got a lot of credit because she's Courtney. But other than that, it was just like, we're going to work because we all want to win and we want to win for each other. And you're only as good as your weakest link. Not saying that she was our weakest link, but I mean, at the end of the day, like everybody has to be on the same page.
Right.
And everybody has to be willing to work as if they're the number one player, the number one option. And that's what makes Journey special, is when people give of themselves to make the team better. Like if Coach Cole would have told me, okay, you start and you play 10 minutes, I'd have been like, okay, cool. Like if that's the role that you need me in, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I think our teams were so successful, was because everybody, whatever Coach Cole needed that night, they were willing to do. Like, Whitney, you're going to play 30 minutes tonight. Lauren, you might get 10, cool. Like Danielle, you might play 15, and Jasmine, you gonna have the other 25, cool. Like it didn't matter. Like everybody was just willing to win.
I love that. Starring in your role while still working to improve, your standing or your role, your future role.
Right.
I love that. That's beautiful, and that's one of the reasons why you guys are successful.
Yeah.
You mentioned Courtney Paris. You played
Yep.
with the Paris sisters, as well as Big Ben Roethlisberger's sister. Tell me about playing with these people, and Hakeem Olajuwon's daughter.
Yeah. No, it was lit.
I went to the Final Four, and all these people were there. It was crazy. Or no, this was in Norman, but everybody was there. It was just real cool to see all these stars.
Yeah. Well, Courtney Ashley, being from the Bay, that was like, it was a really, really attractive point for me, especially going to Oklahoma. I'm like, okay, they're from Cali, like they can make it out there.
Right.
And then Abby as well. Like once I had my visit, like me and Abby talked every day, and she was like,
"Where was Abby from? Was she from Houston?
LA.
Huh?
She's from LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, she was like, I know your only reservation is being in Oklahoma, like, but there's 3 of us Cali girls out here. Like, we'll be fine. Like, we'll make it feel like Cali. And I'm like, really? In Norman, Oklahoma, we're gonna feel like Cali?
Yeah.
But she's like, no, it's okay. Like, we'll take care of you. Like, we're sisters now. Like, just come. And so I was like, okay, that gave me a little bit of peace of mind. But yeah, Courtney and Ashley was cool. Obviously, Bubba came to the games. I remember at the Final Four, actually here in San Antonio, Hakeem Olajuwon came.
Yeah, I got a picture with him. I look real small next to him.
Exactly.
Like,
my mom was
Lord.
like, she loves him, and then she shook his hand, and his hand went basically to her elbow, and she was like, that is a big man. And I was like, yeah, he's huge. And then Carly and I are the same class. So, when Ben came, obviously my dad's a huge Steelers fan.
Oh, yeah.
So he was there when Ben had brought his lineman with him, and he got his hat signed, and he was just on cloud 9. It was like, we didn't even have to win the game. Like, the Steelers are here, so that's what really matters. But
right.
It was cool to be in that atmosphere and have, these people around, and have, these players, my teammates, my sisters now have these incredible backgrounds of just incredible athletes and people that are so successful. So it was cool. Like, even now, when Carly got married, like Ben's at the wedding, I'm like, yo, this is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me, but it's so cool at the same time.
And he's probably like, this is D-Rob.
Yeah. He was like, but when I saw him, he was like, D-Rob, and I was like, me? Like, that's wild. That's so wild to me.
No, but I told this to our girls like a while back. It would be like, so this is when Russell Westbrook, are you and Russ like the same class?
Yeah, we are.
So you had come into one of our open gyms, and I was like, this is like Russell Westbrook coming into our gym, ladies, just so you know. Like, that's the same level that they're on. You mentioned your dad. Your dad and your mom could not be more different than each other. Your mom will come to every time you had a game and she can get to, she would go there. Your dad doesn't really like flying that much.
Yeah.
And also, even when you were in high school, they wouldn't sit together. So tell me the dynamic between those two, because your mom was up and down the stands talking to everybody, and everybody knew who she was, and everybody loved her. And not a lot of people knew who your dad, the real ones knew.
Right.
Not everybody, because he would just be sitting up there by himself and taking his mental notes. So tell me the two differences in both of them.
Well, like you said, my mom is very active and talkative and very animated, especially during games. Like, she's screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering and high-fiving people and just talking to everybody. Like, she's just that person that everybody knows. Speaking of which, when my senior night in Oklahoma, she got a standing ovation. Like, that's just putting it into perspective. Like, people love her. And my dad, he's more of the, how do I want to say it? He's the wild one as far as like yelling, but yelling like brick and like things like that. So my mom was like, yeah, no, I can't. I'm not going to be sitting next to you while you're doing that. So he would go to the opposite side, sit at the top point of the gym, and do just that, yell brick and yell at the refs
Mm-hmm.
and all that. And so, but yeah, it's a funny dynamic. Like whenever we're home, we talk about stories about like, you remember when your dad got kicked out of the gym for doing this? And I'm just like, yeah, I do remember that. And just how much they both love the game in like their different ways. Like my dad, like I can always count on my mom to be like, this might not have been your best game, but you'll be better. My dad's like, oh, you missed free throws. How do you miss a layup? Stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, Dad, like I get it. But yeah, they're definitely opposite, but it's funny at the same time.
Who was harder on you?
I think when I was younger, my dad. I think now my mom, but it's like in a different way. It's like, you're better than that. Like, what are you doing? And that hits you more than just like, oh, you missed a layup or you missed a free throw. It's like, no, like I've basically watched you work your ass off and like you're not playing like you should be. And I'm just like, okay, like you're right. I'm being too passive, or I could have attacked more, and today just wasn't my day. But that definitely hits harder when it's like, you know, like it hits your soul basically. Like, what are you working for then if you're not going to go out and show what you can do? And I'm just like, okay, you're right. Touche.
Right. Anything else on your family? You got such a terrific family. You mentioned your brother, Jonathan. He's been integral in your ascent to the top of basketball. Anything else you want to mention about him?
No, I mean, I just, that's my guy as far as, even now, if I'm just, he watches, but like from afar. Like I'll always get a text before the game and I'll always get a text after. So good, bad, or ugly, like I'm going to hear from my brother. It's not like my parents where I'm, calling them after every single game. Like, what'd you think? Like, what happened? What'd you like? What didn't you like? For him, he's more of like a subtle follower, but like I know that he's always watching. And so it's cool, especially like when something big happens or if I have like a monster game, he just, the way he like explodes, it'll be like 2, 3, 4 paragraphs and he's just so hyped. And so I love the love that I get from each of them in their own ways, and I'm appreciative of their support, because without them, like I don't get here. I don't get here without my mom driving me to Oakland twice a week for AAU practices. I don't get here with my dad not buying me the shoes and pushing me in a tough way. And I don't get here without, my brother pushing me outside every day and challenging me to come to practice and do all those things with him. So I appreciate them in every single way, and I hope I make them proud every
Oh,
time I play and
you for
compete.
sure do.
Yeah, so that's the goal really at this point now. It's just like I want to represent my family in the best way possible.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your high school career. You went to Archbishop Mitty, which is a rival of mine, but right now, because we coach in the same league. But I have a lot of respect for their program. They've had a lot of success. Like you mentioned, you won a state championship when you were in high school. Did you win one or two?
Just one. We
Just
lost.
one. Okay,
But I won my senior year, so it was okay.
We won't bring it up, but
Yeah.
a lot of the players that were on your team ended up playing at the next level. Tell me about your high school experience.
Yeah, well, I knew me going to Midi was actually because of my brother again. He was when he was looking at high schools, we did like the little tour.
Yeah.
And I was of course trailing him, looking at everything, and I was just like, oh yeah, like I love this school. I want to go here. He ended up going to Bellarmine. But for me, like since I was in 6th grade, I was like, yeah, I want to go to Midi. And at that time, Coach Phillips wasn't coaching there. She had went to Cal. And so, I had started going to camps and stuff, and they were like, you really do need to come here because like you're gonna love. This is when Sue, I guess, had decided to come back. They were like, you're gonna love the head coach. Like she's won, she's groomed so many players, and I was like, okay, like cool. Like I'm coming here regardless of whoever the coach is, but it just ended up being Sue, and I can't thank her enough for where I am. I think she instilled that drive. We had to do a lot in high school. We had to run Rancho, which is like 7 miles every Saturday. If you wanted to play on varsity, we did time miles, we did 200s, we did all kinds of stuff.
Right.
That really just pushed and jump started, my work ethic, I think. And so from then on, I just had a bunch of solid players on my team, and we just grinded again. Basically, we wanted to win. We were like, ain't nobody else running 7 miles on Saturday. Like, why should we lose? Like, we're working too hard to lose. And so that's just what it was. Like, it was just so much fun basically playing with my best friends in high school. And like I said, we won my senior year, and that was like so gratifying because we were actually playing Jeanette Poland, and maybe if she listens to this, she'll be mad, but we were playing Jeanette Poland. She was like McDonald's All-American, and I was pissed that I didn't get chosen for McDonald's All-American. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to win this game, and I'm going to send her to the McDonald's game with an L. And that's exactly what happened. And so it was like it was so amazing for me because I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need that to feel good about my career. Like, I'm going out with a state championship. One of my Oklahoma coaches was there. So it was like everything came full circle. But yeah, I mean, Mitty was great. You know, we worked hard and we got so much better in my 4 years, and everybody that came through got so much better. But like I said, it was like playing with my best friend. So it's a great 4 years.
Definitely. No, you've had a terrific career. You were always the best player, you know, in our area. You know, growing up, like sixth grade, people thought you were in high school. When you were in high school, people thought you were in college. And, and you know, when you were at Oklahoma, obviously, and now in the WNBA. So all that work, you know, would you go back and change anything from, you know, your 25 years of basketball?
I honestly don't think I would, because everything made me who I am now. I think the experiences, the memories, the hardships, the injuries, all made me who I am. And thinking back on it, like reflecting, I'm just like, you know, there was a time when my Achilles was so bad, I was just like, I don't think I can play anymore. Like, it's not fun for me to play because like I'm in so much pain. Like, you wake up in pain, you go to sleep in pain, you practice in pain, you play in pain. It's just like, is this really for me anymore? And I think that was God telling me, like, you need to take a different look at it, and him slowing me down enough to take a different, like, this is, yeah, like, you love this. Like, you love the camaraderie of your teammates. You love grinding for something. Like, you've made some of your best friends from this game. Like, you've traveled the world. You've seen these things. So it's like, I mean, injuries suck all the time, but like looking back, I'm like, my love for the game it came back like tenfold because it was taken away from me unexpectedly. Like, I mean, the Achilles was more like it had been happening over time, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And then
the wear and tear.
Yeah, and then the ankle was just like, it came out of nowhere. And the moment that it happened, I was like, please don't let this be it. Like, please don't let this be it. And then I got this I was in Minnesota, and they had Mayo Clinic, and we had like all these, you know, the underwater treadmills and everything. I was just like, wow, like this, it doesn't feel like a grind coming back. And like, I was able to work on so like my footwork and my shooting form and all these things. And it was like, I have so much more in the tank than I did 3 years ago when I was, you know, had the wear and tear and all that. So it's definitely something that has inspired me more, you know, losing the game and obviously getting it back now. So like I said, I'm even though I'm 31 and it's going to be 9 years in the league, like I feel fresh. Like I feel real good.
That's great. I just feel it in your tone of voice. Like you just got that juice back, and I'm excited to hopefully watch you play. You know, hopefully everything ends up working out.
Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Buckets podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends. And until next time, take care.